It's Podraza. I'm not making any of this up. Now, these are two things that happened. One in Connecticut, they constantly slammed the door in my face. They never held it open. I did that recently at IHOP. Now, I had a fine old-timer waitress, one black, looked me over who was the one at the desk. They did carry through. And who was there waiting in the order of no matter who it was. So that was good. The black one was the one that wants me over. The old-timer, I gave her an extra tip. She was an old-time, I think, decent waitress who worked hard, and I think was normal in that perspective completely. Now, there was an inference by one of the customers hollering next to me that he was going to, and it's always a crazy male, married to a crazy female. Crazy in quotation marks. It's deliberate. How the level of drugging is going on, there are rehabs, they can lower it. It can be controlled to a certain level, fully apprised of that. Now, right next to my table, the inference, indirectly so, was to throw me scraps of food, and that's what I should be having. That means I'm a dog on the ground. Remember the book title I gave you. Very important. The name of that is even important. Raise them as a dog. Now, if you have time, read a few pages yourself. That's very enlightening. And that is what that male said to me. I says, not to me you won't. Throw these morsels of food on the ground. That's the only thing I answered in there. Kept eating excellent cooking, excellent food. And I said so. Now we're going back in. I let the door slam, and a couple behind me. I don't know pretty well out loud. The hell of it all is, I've been trained so long to read it that sometimes I'm so worn out, I don't know whether I said it out loud or thought it mentally. That has happened also through exhaustion. Most of the time, I'm trying to control the out loud, watch a program or part of a newscast. Sometimes I'll bomb it, and I'm telling you as little as I possibly can out loud. We're doing it this way. Now, the war, in quotes, which is a war in essence against it, happened in Walmart. Those are the improvements. It is quieter verbally in here, where I can concentrate on the words. I know it's done quietly in their heads. Something is wrong. I start to pass out or go to sleep. I do have to eat, and that's exactly, I stagger it. Eat about the same every day. I do require one smidge, a lump of that long bread. I haven't been able to make my own yet. Now we go back in again. Those are the improvements. There is understanding of concerning some of the military when I took the second shot. Now, the left arm, there is a vein that swells slightly. On the right, I could have sworn she swirled that bloody needle, and I had one heck of a conversation with that one. And there was military sitting at the table. Now, that has no problem with that, and I did analyze that. The left arm will swell, generally and laying down within a vein. Sometimes it leaves, sometimes it doesn't. The right arm is all right in terms of none of that swelling. So that was done by the fire department. He was very angry at me anyway, and I knew he was. I even discussed that with her, straight out with them, in terms of the issue. Now, this is the part that is rough. In Connecticut, prior to my firing, there was a group in an environment that was not totally against me. They disappeared right before the firing took place, meaning I had to leave. In Massachusetts, I was escorted off the premises by police or whatever it was. I was evicted in Portland and evicted in Massachusetts with some young one pounding up the darn stairs behind me. And I'm telling you, I had one heck of a migraine headache and was not feeling well. There was one medical kid hollering at a train, and I nodded at him. You're very sick, he said. If you're very, not emotionally sick. I don't remember the exact terms. You're very sick physically. I nodded. I knew I was, and I didn't want to alarm my mother. Nothing was handled on that. I'd have taken a turkey baster and worked it in reverse if medically they could make that out of my... Now I'm going to get this finished. It's very distressing, and this has gone on hardcore since 12 Angry Men, which was a play in Auburn. Those individuals who were supportive of used to do shopping, used to say hello to, talk a little bit. Even the neighbor next door on Spring Street, they lost that house. Have not been in Walmart for a very long time. They disappeared a long time ago. And I don't know whether they moved out of Androscoggin region. You know, Phil is dead. Thank you for telling me. That should have gone down to a lower level after, meaning not as frequently after his death. Now I'm going to tell you, they have not returned. If they are in Walmart, they go not at the time that I do, or are told when I'm there in some fashion so they don't show up. It is very bad. Portland did it slightly differently than Connecticut. I let the door swing going into IHOP when that couple behind me, right on my heels, I think it was out loud, started to insult me. That was the comment by the next table. They do seem to be hyped up. I'm not a hyper person. I'm enthusiastic like you. Always was. Can laugh. It's delightful. You can have a drink. I can't touch it. I smelled the port wine this morning, the cream sherry, and something's wrong with the smell of the bourbon, and I know it doesn't smell that way. Old Granddad I bought because of my grandfather in Texas, and it's 80% proof. It's Kentucky, and I feel it's better than any other bourbon there is, really. There's other unnamed brands of bourbon. I happen to like that the best. I've tried some. Old Granddad used to be 100% proof. It's 80% proof. I'll smell it later. They alter my smell, also in taste, when I'm exhausted. I have to go back in again and taste it, smell it again. They thought smells to me, also horrific thing to deal with, especially urine, and I could throw up on that one. When you love somebody, you clean up anything, a vomit or anything, and honestly, you don't care about that because you're helping them. My son got sick, Deer Run Trail, was still sick. I says, "Oh, buddy." I have described Connecticut the worst on slamming doors in your face. Portland did it slightly differently. You would have an interview. The door would be open before you went in. And then when you left and didn't get the job, it closed. And you were never allowed in there again. You were finished after the interview. So that was handled in that fashion. Don't even tell me about the occult and that sort of stuff. So I think that is all I have to say on it. That is all deliberate, and that is taught behavior. Now, how far the drugging goes into that and how far they're drugged on that is something that I don't have technical ability to test how drugged they are that accommodates that. But that's exactly what was inferred, that they throw mean morsels of food on the ground for me to eat. And that was what they were there for, laughing their heads off. The ones for you will often stand up, but they will leave before the execution takes place. And sometimes they spoof you. Stand up now, but they're no good. They will literally, most of the time, not allow you in their circle. Their backs are turned. There are two militaries. That is one. The other was my father's, who always, in my arches, for instance, allowed one more to enter the circle. It's a very interesting phenomenon. That is, I think, as much of a summation as I can give you. Now, genuine emotional breakdown due to this, I have no problem with. That is taught behavior and executed behavior, fully cognizant of what is taking place. Now, the issue is the drugging. Who is the one that I'm constantly giving a name? But it was in Connecticut, hardcore. You must beware. And I'm telling you, it was very hardcore. Massachusetts screeched my head off. Big, broad bruisers. I suffered strokes, and I had to try to walk straight. I was not drinking. I think I had a total of 3 or 4 drinks at the most. I was in Mass.